Okay. So let's kind of get started. My name is Garrett Nalepka. Uh, I am the coordinator for the automotive apprenticeship programs at Centennial College and some of the diploma programs at Centennial College. And so I'm here to talk to you about OYAP specifically and make sure you fully understand what this program is about and even how you would get into apprenticeship if you weren't able to actually go through the OYAP program. So we're going to cover all of these items for you. So if you're here, you're obviously interested in automotive as a career, working on cars, fixing cars at School of Transportation. Um, we're the largest training facility for auto mechanics in North America. Some say Canada. Um, and so, just to give you an idea, we have over 2,000 kids that are in our apprenticeship program, our normal model of apprenticeship. So it's a big operation. If we're looking at OYAP, it's a very small part of that apprenticeship. So first, let's kind of just get started and we'll kind of talk about what this actually is. So what is an apprenticeship? It's agreement between a person like you who wants to become a skilled professional, an employer who needs a skilled professional, and the Ministry of Labor. Okay, so over the next 4 to 5 years, if you chose this as a career, you would earn and learn by completing the required theory and practical components of the curriculum. And so with that, there's guys, one thing for there's a question area. Um, if we're looking at this, I'm one individual, so I'm going to answer the questions at the end. One thing I will ask you to populate the question and answer box if something happens where I'm on the wrong screen or something like that. If you could say something so we don't, nobody's looking at any pictures. But I will go through all the questions at the end. My role is representing Centennial College and the normal processes. Okay, so the normal program, we're talking about all the schooling you would need to earn your license would take 4 to 5 years. For the OYAP program that you're trying to get into right now, it would be 1/3 of the schooling needed for your license. And we'll go through everything that you would need to do and the processes. So, what is OYAP? There's different levels of OYAP. There's something we call dual credit, but there's what we're most focused on is what we call accelerated OYAP. And in accelerated OYAP, you earn your credits towards your high school diploma, but more importantly, on the college side, you can register as an apprentice. And so that is just if you want to be an auto mechanic, that is the number one goal of uh, any young person is to be acknowledged that they are signed up properly as an apprentice. It means you're working towards your schooling, and whoever's providing this training for you, they're accredited. They're with the Ministry of Labor can look at their credentials and say you're a training provider. So when it says work towards the completion of a portion of your apprenticeship, this is what we were talking about. There's 3 levels. This will give you credit for level 1 of college. Okay, so and I always get this where a lot of people they're looking at our programs and they say, okay, one day I want to go to college. If you're accepted in this program, you are a college student. Okay, so and you'll be treated like a college student. So what are the advantages of this? You'll sign a training agreement with the Ministry of Labor as an automotive service technician apprentice. More on that later in these processes because I'll try to simplify it. Your agreement will be officially registered with the ministry, and you will begin to achieve the requirements of the provincial certification. Okay, so what does all of this mean? And so I'm going to jump right out of our lesson. And so I'm just going to be very careful here, and I'll start sharing the proper screen. So hold on. So what should have popped up is you should see Google now, and it says Skilled Trades Ontario. And so I'm going to separate our presentation for a bit. Let's pretend, you don't get accepted to OYAP, or OYAP wasn't an option for you. What would you do? I already told you there's 2,000 students, and out of OYAP, I routinely accept about 150. So it's a very small part of our student base is coming from OYAP. Okay, so let's talk about the normal process. The first step, if you want to become an apprentice, is to find a job. And that can be very difficult because there are a lot of high schools out there that don't even have an auto shop. So there's a lot of individuals have no automotive background, foundation to learn some of the basic skills to get that job. And it's not uncommon for individuals to come to me and say they have gone to 13 to 20 placements and nobody will even talk to them to try and get a job. So it can be extremely, extremely difficult first step. The second part of that is, say you get hired. You do not need to be registered to do oil changes or tire rotations. So the employment is the first step. The second step is to convince that employer to sign you up as an apprentice. And this is where it gets difficult because usually if you're hired, you have to prove yourself before anybody will even look at you. So they'll say, okay, I want you to work here for 6 months. And if you prove yourself, I'll sign you up. It means I'm going to accept that you'll be a long-term employee and I'll keep you for much longer. So Skilled Trades Ontario, let's say you get signed up, you're employed, the employer has now agreed, this could take years. The employer has agreed to sign you up as apprentice. What do you do now? Well, Skilled Trades Ontario is a branch of the ministry, and this is how you actually sign up for school. So you sign up for school by registering as apprentice. So right now, what I'm going to do, you can see that this is official Skilled Trades Ontario website. I'm going to go down to where it says Start an Apprentice and Apprenticeship and click on it. And I'm going to get rid of this notice about maintenance just so we have more of a screen. And there's about every trade here. Okay, you have to understand can be everything from hairdressers all the way to electricians to heavy duty truck to myself for automotive. But the most important thing for you to actually go to is there's an area that says STO portal. And the portal is how you control all of the required schooling. Where do you want to go to school? You put your employer information. So I'm just going to click on create a new portal account, and we're going to say we're applying for apprenticeship. Okay. Of course, they have a paper application. That's not what we're going to do. And you're going to go create an account. This is going to take us to an area of the ministry. It's going to ask you for your name, your address, maybe your driver's license. It's going to ask you for your employer information. And basically, you're going to input all that. The next step, the ministry will contact an employer. Okay, so with this, you'd click create account, the page would populate, and you'd set up a portal. Also in this, you can check off the school you would like to go to. So some of the normal options are Durham, Mohawk, or I'd hope you choose Centennial. So you can see that this is a process to do this. Now, let's say everything goes smoothly. You get signed up, you got to find an employer, get signed up as apprentice. The ministry accepts you, they accept your application. The next step, you have to wait 18 months before they'll send you an offer for school. And it's the offers for school come from the Ministry of Labor. So this is everything when we talk about get a training agreement signed, this is it. You're talking over a year, almost 2 years before this actually happens. So you go to school for level 1. So now that we've got that out of the way, this normal process, let's talk about OYAP for a second. So I'm going to stop the screen because I want to make sure we do all this correctly. And we're back on my screen. Okay. Okay. So with OYAP, if you're accepted in the program, they'll help find you, your school is going to help find you a co-op. And you'll have to get some clarification from your teacher exactly how long the placement is. My understanding in previous years, it was about 4 weeks. That will count as that 18-month placement for you. And if you're accepted, you'll be put in one of the 2 cohorts that will start school for either this February or April. And so you'll bypass all the other people that are waiting to get into the apprenticeship model. And if you pass all your courses, you'll be accredited for your real level 1 apprenticeship, college studies. Okay, so you'd be bypassing everybody. It's such a good program to get involved in. So normally, this is what I was saying. The employer will hire you, convince them to sign your training agreement, and work for 6 months to a year. This has to be updated because I'm not the Ministry of Labor. I talk to my students and I say, how long did you wait for? And they're telling me 18 months now, right now, this second. Okay, so it is more than 6 months. It used to be a year before COVID. Now it is over a year. You do your level 1 curriculum, which is 8 weeks, and then you'd have a work placement normally for 6 months to a year, but now it's 18 months. And so the normal program out of OYAP, you would work usually about a year after you finish your level 1. And so this is the next step. This is what they would like you to do after OYAP. Let's say you go through the OYAP program, you got accepted, you passed everything, you passed level 1. Now you can go out into the industry, and if you work for a year, you can come back for level 2. You'll do another 8 weeks, hopefully pass all your courses, go out in the industry again, work for another year, and then come back. After the 3 levels are done, that's all the required schooling by the Ministry of Labor, which means that you can actually, there's other little steps, but you can go and write your license and become a licensed auto mechanic. Okay, so this is the normal process. All you're doing with OYAP is it's a head start into that level 1. Okay, now if you're doing OYAP, follow mission process to enter OYAP. Your training agreement signed during your co-op, and basically you're just jumping straight into that level 1. No waiting period, and you are a college student. So I can't say this, I don't want to be brutal, but don't screw this up if you get accepted. Okay. This is a real head start on a very good career. I can honestly sit there and tell everybody that's in this session that the shops, they are starving for people. They're, we've had a lot of people retire, and for a long time, this industry was not looked at for being in a career. And the shops, there's such a good job. You can make a lot of money, and they're in demand. So if you're licensed, and you have the littlest bit of experience, I would say you could actually go work anywhere you want. So if successful in the OYAP program, you will receive all the level one automotive service technician apprenticeship curriculum. Okay, so it's the same courses that we give to anybody who's been waiting 18 months. It's just we put the OYAP students together, but we do not change anything. It is the exact same level and the exact same content. This is what the courses look like for the level one. Work practices talks about hand tools, the safe way to lift a car, and that includes with an actual lift for a car or floor jacks and stands. All the hand tools, the fasteners, things like that. Engines, self-explanatory. Whether you strongly think that the world is going to be heavily electrified, that's fine. But the average car in Ontario lasts 13 years. And if we look at the current EV model, we're still under 1% in Ontario. So even if we went full EV today, you'd still have another 13 years of gasoline engines, gasoline, diesel, which I don't see happening overnight. So the content's very important to learn. Electrical and electronics, you can see it's a very large portion of our content. Then we have drive lines and transmissions. So it's transmissions, rear ends, a lot of the mechanical parts that make a car move, and steering, suspension, and brakes. So all the different styles of steering, suspension, and brakes. So these are the courses that you would actually take, and you have to pass each and every one of them. Okay, so in the college model, a pass is a 60%. And a lot of people can normally be surprised by that. It's a ministry requirement, not a Centennial College one. If the ministry wants you to earn over 60% on each and every one of these courses. Okay, so at the end of the day, we do an average for all the courses that you have here. And if it doesn't equal that 60, then you won't be successful. And you could get into a situation, let's say you get 59 and a bunch of courses. You could get in a situation where you still get your high school credits, but the real advantage of this program is to actually earn that apprenticeship level one, and you have your training agreement signed and everything to go, and to get a great head start on your career. So I would be focusing on doing as much as you can or learning as much as you can in these courses. Excuse me. So how to apply? So complete the application package, submit it to your teacher, and that's on the co-op side. There usually is math tests. There are normally there can be interviews to actually get into the program. So always seek assistance from your co-op teachers on the high school side if needed. Students must adhere to co-op teachers' regular school procedures and schedule, as well as Centennial College's schedule. You must purchase, borrow necessary equipment, safety glasses, and shoes. So for any shop, including your co-op, you should have steel-toe boots. Another thing is for the shoes that we generally use, you could, if I have work boots on, I could pour oil on the floor and I could step in it and I won't slip because it's a special rubber. And so it's not something you want to just wear sneakers and step in an auto shop. Um, so this equipment's needed for Centennial College, and it's needed for your work placement. Okay, so always talk to your co-op teacher. Sometimes there's little programs to help you. I'm not privy to them all, but always talk to your co-op teachers at your high school to see if they have any ability to, I don't know, even get a discount or some kind of help with purchases. Um, there can be transportation support. It's different with every board. For obviously, there's some people that are traveling from much farther away. And normally I'm dealing with every different board out there. So there can be transportation support. Always talk to your co-op teacher. Report card mark is determined by your co-op teacher. Okay. And your AST dual credit success is determined by your performance at Centennial. I must say, I have had some students who were not successful at Centennial and still did pass for credits. And I can't tell you how what if you do want to be an auto mechanic, how far that actually sets you back. And it really comes down to the ministry requirements of that 60% average. So it's one of these things that I could tell you if you're really focused on doing well and get earning a higher mark, and being involved in all the labs and doing all the studies and everything else, that the students that they're learning in class. So, for example, we have theory class where you'll sit at a desk 50% of the time. The other 50% of the time, if I talk about a steering box, I'll show pictures of it, everything else. Then we'll go to the lab and we'll disassemble that steering box. And that will give you a little bit of foundation on how things work when you're actually holding them. And so let's put it this way. If you're involved in the labs, you're there all the time, you're holding the stuff as well as learning it in class, generally students don't have an issue if this is what they want to do. Okay, so first we're just going to show some pictures. So we can kind of look at this and just get an idea where things are in school. So this is the front of the actual school. There's this big glass arch, and if you were driving a car, you'd actually drive it down the center of that arch. And so I'm hoping you can see my little arrow, but there's two doors that are straight in the view on the right side. If you go through those doors and walk straight and a little bit to the left, there's our bookstore. Okay, so it's right in that area. There's will be stairs that you'll see that are going up. If you go up those stairs, it'll lead to the top of this arch, which is our library. And if you walk to the very end of the arch and go down the stairs to the bottom to the other leg of that arch, it's all of our student services. We call it the hub, but there's everything from financial services to purchasing a locker to purchasing parking. Okay, so all of that is in those areas. This is a picture of what the bookstore looks like inside. There's swag, there's everything that you could possibly want. There's safety glasses and everything else. This is the library at the top of that arch. They have also quiet rooms for studying that a lot of students seem to be taking advantage of, especially if they have exams coming up. They'll just book one of those rooms and they'll talk about strategy or practice questions. And it's been very helpful for a lot of the students. These are the stairs going down to the student services hub. You can see the picture that I have here, it's all closed. But if you can imagine, everything will be opened here. So they do all of the different services at Centennial College. And for example, say there was a weekend course on welding or something like that, then you can sign up for it in this area. We do have a gym on campus. If you're into fitness and working out, it's free and available to anybody that's a student at Centennial. There are other areas and other trades that are they're related a little bit to automotive, where we're looking at auto body. It's a different trade. Okay, but again, we take care of all these trades at our campus, and collision's a little bit different. Like if you're sanding a car, painting a car, it's a different license. And one of the biggest questions I get asked, can you do several licenses at the same time? The ministry does not allow you. So if you wanted to do auto mechanics and then auto body, you would have to take 4 years to do auto mechanics and then another 4 years to do auto body. And if you wanted to do truck, it would be another 4 years. So you can only do one apprenticeship at a time. This is kind of where they actually paint cars and stuff. Again, we do all this stuff at Centennial College. And we have some very generous supporters of our programs. We've received over 22 vehicles from different manufacturers over time, including the Viper that's in the picture here. The manufacturers are very good to us in our campus. So these are the labs for automotive. This is kind of what it looks like for um, like a non-theory class where you'll have desks and you may be disassembling something, you may be doing some electrical work in these different labs. Each lab is set up to do different things. For example, the picture I'm currently showing is an engines lab. So it's just for disassembling and reassembling engines and learning engine content. We do have a Tim Hortons. This was asked for by our students' request, and we managed to get us Tim Hortons on campus. This is another room where these are running engines on benches where you don't have the whole car, but you may have these benches that you can do a lot of the same things where you can actually run the vehicles or run the engines and do a lot of the same diagnostics. And we also do power sports, again, a different trade, but it's some of the neat stuff that's on campus. And I had to share, with some of the things that we do on campus. So we do the motorcycle mechanics license. And one of the things that's very interesting, if you get your automotive license, that allows you to certify motorcycles. Essentially, every motorcycle, except for something that's called the slingshot, which is it's a three-wheel like kind of trike thing with the one wheels on the back. Okay, so essentially you can write a safety for everything but that. So, for example, these motorcycles that you see in the picture, you would be able to work on them. You would be licensed to be able to do that work with an automotive license. And this is our steering, suspension, brake lab. So again, very large area where we can disassemble suspensions and brakes and do all the important work that's needed to learn steering, suspension, and brakes. So one of the things that we've done in the past, we have an online textbook. Um, And this is one of the things that has been done where your teachers may be using this, and it's sign up in and you will have a virtual book. A lot of high schools also use this. If you had high school auto, it's not uncommon to see this. And you may have already been doing some of these where you're clicking on certain things like engines, and you can actually see the components moving. So you'll have to talk to your professors about that. It's at their discretion if they want to use Electude. I found a lot of OYAP students when they were coming to the school, a lot of them had already used technology like this even before they came on campus. And this is the book we use for OYAP. The college department responsible for OYAP has made a very large purchase of books that we use every year. Um, so you'll be lended a book that you can use for your whole level one, and then you'll need to return that book. Otherwise, they will chase you. And believe me, I'm in privy to all the emails from all the different co-op teachers that are chasing students and everything else. We use the sixth edition for our OYAP programs, and then for your level two, you would jump into the seventh edition. So this book is only valuable to you for the current level that you would be going in if you're accepted. We do have an area called our accessible learning and counseling. So I always get some questions about IEPs and some of the accommodations that students may have in high school. None of those accommodations ring true when you come to college. You need to be reassessed. And so you need to book an appointment with the CALCS area. CALCS, our Center for Accessible Learning and Counseling Services. You can bring all the documentation that you have from high school that for any accommodations that you may need, and they'll assess you and provide you with paperwork that you can give to your teachers. So this is all stuff that you would have to do. You cannot just bring documentation from your high school. Your professors won't accept it. Okay, so you have to talk to the Center for Accessible Learning and Counseling Services. On the other side of this, if you ever have any issues or trying to deal with certain things or have friends that are are having some kind of crisis, you can always walk them down to this area. They're in the hub, the same area that I was showing you where student services were for signing up students for courses and things like that. Um, it's a college. So everybody in here, the one thing I can say for a college environment, nothing is tolerated. If you are, if you are improper, like we say, code of conduct, foul and inappropriate language, harassment, bullying, guys, you're going to get kicked out. Okay, so don't screw up your chance at this. It has happened. Okay, where people they come into college, and I know there's all these different high school environments. It doesn't fly here. It basically you'll have some very mature people around you. It's very easy for somebody to feel like they're not in a safe environment, and you'll screw up your chance. It's not high school. Okay, they do not tolerate anything. The the other lighter subjects here, participation. You saw some of those pictures. Those labs are quite large. If I'm a teacher, I'm trying to teach you something, especially if I'm pointing at different parts of the car, you can run and hide somewhere. Okay, you can be in the lab scrolling your phone in a corner, not paying attention. And this goes back to what I was saying before. You can pass the courses if you pay attention. But if you're distracted easily and everything else, you have to be the judge of that. But if you're not actively doing the work, if you have a teacher that's talking, you should be there and participate. And when I say be there, you can be in the room and still not participate. So I'd suggest get involved. The other thing is your attendance. They're very strict with attendance. Uh, I see the transcripts for some of your high schools. I talk to some of the students. I know what some of you guys are able to do and still pass your high school courses. It doesn't fly here. I can't tell you the ministry requirements. They want 100% of the outcomes to be completed in the labs. What that means is if I set up a lab as an instructor and we're taking components apart, whatever it is, it could be a brake component, and I put all those components on the desk and we disassemble them, we talk about them, we reassemble them. I'm not setting that lab up again. And again, it's not to be malicious. I have 2,000 kids. We have 18 staff that are working all the time, every day. If I have a student miss something, we're not resetting something up. You're going to get a zero for it. And so, regardless of what your teachers tell you, if you miss a certain amount of days and you're not going to be successful, usually what ends up happening, you miss a day or two, it's the grades or marks. We don't even actually kick you out. You just won't pass anymore because you'll lose so many marks that you can't mathematically pass the course anymore. And what I'd say is, especially somebody who's learning and starting off, after 3 days, you're at huge risk. One of my jobs as a coordinator is counseling and talking to students, and it's almost always related to attendance. If I look at marks or grades and people are not passing, almost always attendance. And so what I'd say is this is it's 8 weeks, guys. It's a very short period of life. You blink and it's over. What I'd say is put your social life on hold for that time period of time. Pass your courses with the highest mark that you can possibly get, and then you can move on. You can go back to your shop and have some fun and have a social life again, but not when you have an opportunity like this. We have lots of policies. We are a smoke-free campus. That includes even if you're sitting in a car in a parking lot. Okay, so when we say this, this is for everybody. Recreational cannabis, it's not prohibited on property, including parking lots. No consumption through smoking or edible products. Why are we so concerned about this? You could be driving cars, okay, where we're driving a car in a lab, but lifting a car up. We can't have people under the influence, whether it be alcohol, cannabis, whatever it is, because things can happen. You're lifting a very heavy vehicle and you're surrounded by people who are learning. And so if anybody is questioning whether you're under the influence of something, then they're going to get other people involved. So it's just what I would say is don't. We do have security on campus. They're routinely walking around the campus. Um, they're there to keep us safe. They're also there for lost and found, any kind of statements. And what I should say is for light cuts and things like that, they'll have band-aids and different things that they can do to help you. Like any place, if there's a real emergency, you can call 911 first, obviously, but we should, especially one of your classmates, you should get them to talk to security because they can start opening gates and doing whatever they need to do. And this is the part where I can ask any questions or answer any questions, and we could do that. So here's the thing. In this, you've got a Q&A box. So you can write any question. I will answer it live. So this guy that doesn't hear anything, I can't help him. Will there be any math review before the actual math test? So I'm not involved with the math tests. That is on the high school side. So talk to your co-op teacher for that. I have a question about the on-site part of the co-op for the job part. Do you abide by school hours or work hours? So again, for that is for the high school. I would say it would depend on the franchise, but most dealerships would want you there from 8 to 5. Okay, so it's a work, it's a job. Everyone in here, this is time to leave high school and the real work environment is usually 8 to 5 o'clock. I'm currently in a 4-credit co-op. Can I still apply for OYAP or just apply to Centennial? So if you have a co-op placement, you could get your training agreement signed, but again, you're going to wait probably the 12 to 18 months. I would still say I would talk to your co-op teacher to see. I do have students that they do the different co-ops and then they come right into OYAP or accelerated OYAP. And some even use the same placement and just carry on using that placement for the accelerated OYAP. So that's something that you may be able to do. Can you explain what automotive technician partner with Mavro and FCA does and how does it differ? So when we say apprenticeship, it means you're working in industry. For people to know, that's a particular stream of schooling. Okay, so you're going to earn your 3 levels, you're working on the job, and the other big things, advantages are the government pays 90% of the fees for your schooling. Okay, there's another stream called diploma programs. In diploma programs, you earn a college diploma in level 1 and level 2 at the same time. There are costs associated to earning a diploma. And the other thing is there may be interviews to get in, but the particular advantage of a diploma program is you can start on campus. You wouldn't need to start a co-op. So it's a different stream. It's for earning 2 levels. There are maths, Englishes, and everything else involved that you would need to learn to do a co-op diploma. So the only way I can, when people go to me, they go, well, what's the best course and what's the best program? So right now, I have, if we look at active students on campus right now, I have 450 apprenticeship students on campus right now. If I go to campus tomorrow, that week, we'll have 450 kids. We have about 450 in diplomas. So it's about 50-50. And so it depends on you and what you or son or daughter want to do. Okay. Either is totally fine. The OYAP, there's never a disadvantage to going to OYAP because you're being acknowledged by the ministry that you've been signed up properly. Yes, this is at Ashton B campus. How much math is involved in the program? In apprenticeship programs, well, in apprenticeship programs, there's math that's inherent to the course, but you won't feel like it's math because you'll see a practical, you see the practicality of it. That's the best I can say. I've had transmissions apart where people are calculating gear ratios, and I've, even approached students and said, "You told me you hated math," and they say, "This isn't math. This is calculating gear ratios." Okay. So 8 weeks is on the college campus, so that's correct. We say it's 2 months, so that 8 weeks you would do the 5 courses. What math questions? Unfortunately, I'm not involved with the math, so I can't help you with that. What's the difference between OYAP and going straight through college? So, as we said at the beginning of this, if you go straight through college, you can. The only problem is you need to work for 12 to 18 months before getting accepted into college in an apprenticeship program. Where if you get accepted in OYAP, you'll be starting in February. So that's the big difference. Would I be able to get into the accelerated OYAP program if I hadn't done anything to get into? if I hadn't done anything to get into yet for semester 2. So when we're doing interviews to get into OYAP, the teacher on the high school side will be looking at your credits to see if you're eligible. And so again, that's more on the high school side to see if you're eligible to actually get into the program. It is at Ashtonby campus. How important is it to have a license? Um, so I'm going to assume that's driver's license for the career. It is. Can you go through the program without it? Um, you are limiting your chances of getting hired after the program's done. So that's probably the biggest thing that I could say for this trade. You need a driver's license. There's some shops that they can't get insurance if you don't have a driver's license. When are the interviews for this trade? So that generally is happening in November and December for OYAP. Okay, the interviews to get in. Is there preference on applications for students who have had automotive tech class? Our high school does not have an auto shop. Actually, no. We look at your transcripts, we talk to you. I've had lots of students that have had no interview automotive experience, and we've accepted them based on their transcripts and how they carry themselves. How many OYAP seats are there? Oh, good question. 3 classes of 40, and your Toronto board, the Toronto board being the biggest um, or more allocated the most seats. So about 120 kids. What level of grade 12 math is required to apply at Centennial? So you need your high school diploma in order to get into apprenticeship programs. So whatever you need to do that. When accepted to OEAP, will the students get paid or grade? So they do not, the co-op under the agreement, and this is based on the feedback from the students, that short co-op is unpaid. It does count for your 12 to 18 months. It's not a paid co-op. Use it to try to uh, use it to try to network and get people to help you, okay, to possibly get hired to new, to get a job. I'd still say it's the best and fastest way for you. If I have a question, if you have basic level 1, I'm still applying for level 1 automotive in the college. How can I do that? And how many level are there in automotive? So this will be recorded. We went through how to actually sign up. So you have to go Skilled Trades Ontario. You have to find an employer. They have to hire you, and they have to sign you up as an apprentice with the ministry. So all of those things have to happen. I am recording this, so I'll be able to provide it to the high schools. And we did go through that earlier in the lesson. What's a red seal mechanic? So that's just our license. We call it 310S, and it's a red seal trade or a red seal endorsed. In the olden days, you could, if you wrote your mechanic's license and you got a 60 to 69, then you were licensed in Ontario. If you got above a 70, it was called your red seal. And what that meant was you were now an auto mechanic who could work from BC to Ontario. Okay, so it was called Red Seal endorsed. They changed it so everything is Red Seal at 70, and anything that's 69 or lower is a fail. So you do your 3 levels, and go pass your license, and you'll have a red seal. What if I start this OYAP, but after I graduate, I want to do a different trade? Then you would have to start over again. Unfortunately, its trades are all different. What happens if I'm already enrolled in as OYAP participant and I still have to wait 18 months? Do I still have to wait 18? No, if you're accepted in the OYAP program, you would start in February or April. What are the requirements for me to get accepted in both OYAP and apprenticeship? Well, it's the same thing. When you get accepted in OYAP, then you're automatically in apprenticeship. You're accepted. As far as the it's the co-op teachers, look at your transcripts, and if you have all the credits required, the Ministry of Labor does want you to earn your high school diploma. So usually they're looking at it to see if you're on track to earn it by a specific date, with the understanding that some of the credits that you need to earn are in the program. Okay, so they're basically trying to see if you're on track or very close to earning your high school diploma. Are there different types of OYAP, or accelerated OYAP is the only one? So there is. There's normal OYAP where you don't actually earn any schooling at Centennial at all. And then we have a different level of OYAP where you do a single course, like engines. So accelerated is the only one that you would earn an apprenticeship level one towards your license, towards your mechanic's license. It says is all I need space for 4 periods next semester. So you would have to go, and don't quote me on this, I believe it was at least 4 weeks as a co-op to count as your work placement. Okay, so it's not like a credit co-op. It is accelerated OYAP. You have to actually go work for a placement and more than likely work hours, 8 to 5. Would I be able to get into accelerated OYAP program if I hadn't done anything to get into for semester 2? Done anything to get into semester 2 yet? So when I have to be careful of this, because semester 2, are you meaning college or high school? Because this is something you should talk to your high school co-op teacher about. Because if I'm looking at it, I'm just looking at the ministry requirements. You need to be on track to earn your high school diploma. Okay, so in a normal apprenticeship, unless you have your high school, we won't actually let you in. So usually how it works is I sit down with the high school teacher and he'll say, "Okay, Johnny, you still need this credit for English. When are you going to do that? Oh, you're doing it in summer school. You're doing this. Okay, I see you're on track to get your diploma by this date. Okay, you're good. Let's do the interview now. You're eligible." So that's kind of how it works. Does this count as a skilled trade? Yes, of course it does. So this is a 310S apprenticeship, and it is Red Seal endorsed. If I do automotive service technician partnered with Mavro and FCA, but is involved in getting my level 3. So you would do the whole program. You would get level 1 and level 2. You go out and get a job. You work for about a year, and you wait to get an offer for level 3. Will the recording? Yes, I'm recording right now. I have a question. If you have basic level 1, I'm still applying for level 1 in the college. How can I do that, and how many uh, levels are there? So I was saying this before, there's 3 levels. In the beginning of this presentation, I showed how to actually sign up without OYAP, which is Skilled Trades Ontario. You need to be employed at an auto service shop that service shop has to be willing to sign a training agreement and have you registered as an apprentice. So that's basically, it's two parts to it. Getting hired is number one. And then basically the other part is that employer has to sign you up as an apprentice. So that's the other part. The only way to get accepted to OYAP is through the interview and the test. That's correct. What is the on-site parking? Uh, I'll be honest, it's so everybody pays for parking, including myself. We all pay for parking. Um, I would probably say it's equivalent to uh any kind of going rate for parking at in Toronto. Is parking available on the street and down the road on Ashtonby. Um, Otherwise, they have different rates and different ways to pay for parking. You can check the website for whatever the current rates are. They have different things that are daily or flex passes where you pay for the gate to go up and down 10 times. So, for example, if I pay for what we call a flex pass, I come into the school, I ding the gate, the gate opens, I park my car. If I go out for lunch and come back, then I just used a second of my flex 10. So now I have 8 times the gate will open. So it is, some would say, expensive. Well, I have access to slides, so I am recording this. So ask your co-op teachers, I'll hand them out. Are there different types of OYAP? Accelerated is the only one. No, it's basically there are different types of OYAP. Basically, with these types of OYAP, you accelerated is the one where you're earning the college credits. If I complete accelerated OYAP in grade 12, and graduate high school, will I have to find another sponsor who will teach me? Well, it depends. Some get hired right out of their co-op. That would depend on how well you sell yourself to your employer. Is this only for high school students? Can I graduate and then do something like this? So again, talk to your high school teacher. There is a cutoff at some point. I do have some students that they were older when they were able to get into this, because again, they could take advantage of it. Um, so talk to your high school and see what the age limit is. Do I need to have a job lined up in order to participate? Uh, I'll be honest, the co-op teachers usually help a lot. They usually have employers that hire repeatedly. Um, so that's not normally an issue. Are these programs highly competitive? So will they prioritize students by more experience? Uh, when we interview, we're looking, how do you carry yourself? We're looking at transcripts. Uh, there's also for highly competitive schools, there are math tests that you may have to do to get in. So there are different ways. How early can we apply for OYAP? That's a good question for the school. We generally are interviewing in November, so it gives you an idea that's coming up real quick. What if I don't have community hours completed until the program starts? Again, talk to your high school. The community hours are an issue for a lot of the students, and usually it's one of the biggest sore points that come up before we start the interview. So I would say I don't know what you have to do to complete those. I know that's a huge requirement for a lot of the students. What are you looking for or prefer in transcripts? There's no cookie cutter for transcripts. Um, Again, it's not like I'm looking for the same individual every time. Me personally, I look, are there certain courses they are excelling at? Do the attendance? How is the attendance of the student? Are they showing up? Because If I have somebody, we're sending them to an employer, I'm not going to have a program very long if they can't show up for work. Also, just generally when they're talking, like, is this what they want to do? Or are they just looking for a spare? Okay. And usually I find students are quite honest. How did they decide who gets accepted into the accelerated OEAP program? Well, it's marks. Yes, definitely looking at transcripts, but it's also just like any job interview, the student has an opportunity to tell us why they should be accepted. Um, just like anybody who wants to start working, why, if I give somebody an opportunity, are they going to do well? Are they going to show up every day? Um, do they want to make the best of it? So transcripts are a part of it. And usually whatever math test the high school gives, that's a part of it as well. But number one is how you carry yourself. Am I talking to somebody who's responsible? Okay. Or are they going to jump in a brand new car and hit four cars down the new car line and cause a whole bunch of damage to an employer that's no longer going to support my programs? I have a question. If you have basic level one, am I still applying for level one in college? How can I? So a lot of these questions, they seem to be repeating. Um, so there you apply through Skilled Trades Ontario. Okay, and look at the recording of the lesson because I went through it. Um, the Toronto District School Board has the highest allocation of seats, 120. What about York Catholic District School Board? Approximate. Um, there's no real set allocation. Um, I would say that all of these students, there's no real set in stone seat allocation for any of these. Catholic board, I'd say talk to the Catholic board teacher. It's been all over the place in previous years. If you're somebody who this is what you want to do and you follow through the process, it's not as competitive with York Catholic. Okay, so generally it's a small number from York Catholic. How many years would it take to finish and graduate the skilled trades? So from beginning to end of starting Centennial College to earning your license, and here's the thing, honest number, I ask my students this all the time. They say it's about 4 to 5 years. You can complete all three levels and earn your license and be licensed. And of course, I've had anomalies. I've had students do it in 3 years. Okay. I've had students take longer, but on average, just working away and tickety boo, you're into 4 to 5 years. Would a 4 credit co-op be paid next semester or unpaid? Depends on you and the co-op employer. Okay. I've had everybody, I've had every kind of co-op. Most are, I find most high school co-ops are not paid. That's between you and the employer. What I would tell you is at this point in your career, if somebody said if you work for 4 weeks, it'll be equivalent to 18 months and you can start college right away, that if you do the 8 weeks at college, all of a sudden you're worth more money, you may want to do that. Someone asked me about a math test. Is there a math test you have to get accepted? So that's not on my side. That's in the high school side. So high schools boards that have lots of applicants generally give a math test to determine the top contenders to get into the program. So that's generally something that's done at different boards, but that's not on the college side. Is there opportunity to visit campus? That's a great question. November 28th, we're having an open house. So that's happening. The last I heard, it was a Saturday. So write that down. So absolutely. Also, you can go on my Centennial anytime you want, and you can book a tour with a tour guide. Is there MIG welding? Not in 310S. We have separate courses for welding, but the only thing that's in 310S is heating and cutting. How would this program work if I take a 4 credit co-op, then grade 11, then grade? My understanding is you need to be on track to earn your high school diploma. If I'm still doing level one automotive in college, or am I in level two? You're not in level two, you're in level one. You have to complete 8 weeks, pass all the courses, go to work for a year, then come back, and you'll do another 8 weeks for level two. So you're you're level one in college. Which preparation semester to enroll in OYAP while being grade 12? Is it semester one or semester two? I couldn't tell you. That is something on the high school side. I have no idea. Do you have the Zoom video or slides? Yes, I do. I'm recording them right now. I will pass them on to the boards and you can look at them anytime you want. When accepted to OYAP, does it mean that a student can be expected to be off campus for a whole semester next year? What's the ratio for in school and off campus? So here's the thing. OYAP, we have and when I say we, the high schools have a small co-op that the students do. Then they sign up with Centennial College and they do 8 weeks with me. After they're done with me, I've got nothing to do with their co-op. Or it's not a co-op at that point. It's their job. So they go to their job, the ministry looks at them, and the Ministry of Labor decides when to send them back for level two. So it's not really a co-op, it's a job. So they would go to their job for probably 12 months and then get sent for the next level. So what's the ratio in school to off campus? So I can put it this way. I have 2,000 kids, about 450 on campus. The rest are out in industry. They tell me they work for about 12 months before I see them again. I'm doing a 4 credit co-op this semester and have a regular high school schedule next semester on track to graduate. Would I be able to join Centennial in September? I'm an OYAP participant. Again, you're going to have to ask your co-op teacher. You sound like you already have some automotive experience. Love to take you, but again, you need to talk to your high school teacher to see if you're eligible. Can you do OYAP that's a different trade? Will you do after high school for just experience, for example, welding and auto service? Unfortunately, you would have to start over again. Even if you started with me and then you're like, oh, I liked it, but I changed my mind. I want to do heavy duty truck. You would have to start from level one again. And everything still applies. So you would have to get a job in a heavy duty truck shop, work for 12 months, and then away you go. If I fail the exam, do I do everything from the start? If you fail a course, you fail the whole level. That's one of the things that's harder and more difficult. If for a high school, for a college course or program, which schools can I be able to enroll in automotive technician services? So I can only speak for Centennial because that's who am I work for. The other schools that do automotive are Mohawk and Durham are probably our other two schools that are the closest. The recording is going to be sent to all the school boards. Are we joining back to the other meeting? I don't know anything about the other meeting. I'm with Centennial, so I don't know if there's a way back there. During the co-op, can I ask the company? So it's not a co-op, it's a job. I guess for the co-op for the 4 weeks. During the co-op, can I ask the company that I'm doing the co-op with to have me sign as apprentice? Well, they are. They've already, that's the agreement. You work for free and they'll sign you up. So that's if they're part of this, they've already agreed to do that. So you don't have to do anything else. To get into accelerated OYAP, do I need OYAP on semester 2, grade 12 timetable? So you'd have to ask the high school for that. I don't know anything about that. They come to me and they say these are the accelerated OYAP students, they're eligible, and it's all the co-op teachers that look at that information. If you successfully complete a 310S, is there an expected process to obtain a 310T? You start all over again. Okay, so unfortunately, you start right from level 1 and you do your level 1 and everything else. You have to start all over again. Do you still need a part-time job when doing apprenticeship? The idea is you're working full-time, um, and you're doing the trade that you're trying to learn about to make more money. So there's a certain amount of hours they want to see you accomplish in order to be eligible for the apprenticeship schooling. What if I'm an international student and I don't have permanent residence? So unfortunately, apprenticeship programs aren't open to international students. You need your PR. I do have students with their PR come through, but you need a social insurance number that starts with a 5, not a 3, in order to get into apprenticeship programs. You're welcome. When is the first interview? We haven't set them, generally mid-November. Do I have to go to college, or can I just do apprenticeship? So apprenticeship is at college. So if you sign up for apprenticeship, the ministry will say it's time to go to school and they'll send you an offer to go see me. To become a licensed mechanic, can you stay in one shop sponsored or or can you switch shops and keep the same process? No, you can switch to any shops you want as long as they're supportive. Also, do you do 4 straight years or say 1 year work one? You you can. You could go from job to job. It's just you have to keep the sponsorship information current. Okay, so the ministry needs to know where you're working. How many credits are needed to high school get an OEP? I'm sorry, I don't know. You'll have to talk to your co-op teacher about that. Is there night class in automotive that I can continue working as an apprentice? There are night classes, not for OEP, okay, but for apprenticeship, where we have Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6:30 to 9:30 that you can do. They start in September, and you would have to do those night courses every Tuesday and Thursday for a year to do one level. Okay, there's some people that do it. It's obviously there's not as busy or full as our other programs. You said you complete all levels. It takes about 4 to 5 years, and in odd cases, 3 years, if possible. In 3 years, what would you have to do? Get lucky with getting offers for school, which generally you're waiting for the ministry. So it depends if there's a relationship between the employer and the Ministry of Labor, what we call training consultant. So it's not in your control. To take accelerated OYAP, would I need to change my second semester? Again, you'd need to talk to your co-op teacher about that. I'm not able to answer that. I'm a coordinator. I have all my college students. I interview high school students to get into this program, but for looking at eligibility, It's the high school co-ops that actually do that. What is the average pay each year for apprentice and fully licensed? That's a great question. So let's start with a licensed auto mechanic. It it ranges from, I would say, at the very low end, your people who work very slow, want to, go home early, probably about 50 grand. Your go-getters that, oh, this car's got to be done. I'm not going to be finished till 6:30, but I'm going to get it done. Oh, there's an opportunity to work on Saturday. Those people, again, these are two extremes of the spectrum, are in the $120,000 a year zone. And then there's everybody in between. So that's your license guys. Go back to your level three. I'd say your level three guys are probably about 40 bucks an hour now, 30 bucks an hour. Your level two, it's going to be a big jump down to 20 something dollars an hour. And your level one could be close or a little bit better than minimum wage. So it gives you an idea. See, each is a big jump. Okay. Which preparation semester to enroll OYAP while being grade 12? You'll have to talk to your co-op teacher. Unfortunately, I am not able to answer that. Students take OYAP via high school, either in grade 11 or 12. After completing OYAP, students go straight through apprenticeship automatically. Okay, so when they do grade 11, it's called dual credit. They do a single course, usually engines. They don't earn their college apprenticeship. Okay. Accelerated OYAP, you do. And for that, you need your grade 12. Okay. Or you're on track to earn your high school diploma. Um, for this, if you're accepted in the OYAP program, yes, you would do a co-op. It's a number of weeks, and then you would be signed up as an apprentice. If you're not doing OYAP, then as I said at the beginning of the lesson or the presentation, you would have to sign up with Skilled Trades Ontario and work 12 months, 12 to 18 months in order to get accepted. Do they, I'm going to say, is that do they get a certificate? Yes, they do. They get a college certificate. And the one that's really meaningful is when you earn all three levels, which is equivalent to all your schooling needed to write your license. Is there such a thing as OYAP that doesn't register you as apprentice? Yes. We call them dual credit. There is just 4 credit co-ops. So there's lots of different things with the title OYAP. The one to look at is what we call accelerated OYAP. Get an OYAP seal in your OSSD. So you have to look, there's lots of different OYAPs programs out there. Some are like OYAP dual credit. You have to look specifically for accelerated OYAP. What is the pass rate for the 310 exam? So that's with the Ministry of Labor. I gotta say what the rumor is that it's close to 50%. And that's usually kids finish level three and they go straight to write that exam without the experience of working in a shop for a little while. And usually they're quite close to passing, but keep in mind the pass rate, you need to earn a 70%. So it's not something you can just guess and do. So usually there's 2, 3 attempts. I currently own my own set of tools, how much would I get paid? How much more would I get paid as apprentice? So that's up to the employer. Generally, I would say after level 2, most would have their own tools. To get accepted and accelerated OYAP program, is it mostly dependent on the interview? Well, and if you're on track to earn your high school diploma, and how do you carry yourself? Are you a responsible person? Okay, so we kind of look at it, you're looking at everything all at once. Can you carry yourself well? Are you going to not do well with the employer and make us look bad? Okay, so just like any job interview, you're trying to sell yourself. Would students need to pay tuition? I don't think there's any fees for this. It's almost complete, even the normal program for apprenticeship, it's almost completely funded by the government. So with that, um, even normal apprentices pay about $500. And $500 is not very much in terms of college education. I did automotive grade 11 semester. I'm going to do it again. I'm already registered with Skilled Trades Ontario and getting processed for my 3. Soon as you're registered with Skilled Trades Ontario, yes, you're on the waiting list. And as long as everything's registered properly, you in 12 to 18 months, they'll email you. So make sure you're watching for those emails. Okay. So that is everything. I still have 30 people. So I have 29. I'd like to thank everybody for their time. Feel free to ask a question if you haven't already, and I'll try to do my best to answer them. But thank you everybody for your time. I will be taking this recording and passing it back to the school boards. And thank you for taking the time and being interested in this. So here. There. Okay. Great. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to stop the sharing. I'll pass the recording back to the school boards, and anybody who wants it, you can ask for it. Thank you very much. Good night, everyone. What else is needed for apprenticeship? For normal apprenticeship, um, a job and to get your training agreement signed for normal apprenticeship. Okay, so you need those 2 things. Most certainly, if you're doing the normal way, you would need a driver's license. Okay. Stop share. Are you automatically registered with Skilled Trades Ontario when you do a co-op? No, you need to register. So in the OYAP program, they'll register you for you, but in the normal non-OYAP route, then you would have to register yourself, and the employer would have to validate it. I got my level 1 automotive in OYAP, and I'm still applying for level 1 again, or am I going to be level 2? So if you earned level 1, you passed everything. When you register and you start working, you'll get an offer for level 2. So once you do level 1, it's done. The ministry has it on record. We report it to the Ministry of Labor that you passed. So you're waiting for level 2. If I do apprenticeship normally and get someone to sponsor me right away, do I have to wait? Yes. 12 to 18 months. So you get registered properly, you're placed on a waiting list. My students are telling me it's 12 to 18 months. Most is more than a year. Okay, last chance, guys. Can I still do pre-apprenticeship or a college program that contain a level one before an apprenticeship if you already did OYAP? So I have to be careful when we say this. Accelerated OYAP, you earn level one. There are other OYAPs where you don't earn any apprenticeship levels. So it depends on what you do. There is a program called pre-apprenticeship that you do earn your level one. There's no offerings right now. They need to apply for them and get them. But I generally say if you can do OYAP, it's probably the best way to actually get through it. Um, but you don't look at all this stuff for pre-apprenticeship and everything else. I'd say OYAP is your best option because if you get signed up for OYAP, accelerated OYAP, you would start with me in February. When you say 12 to 18 months, do you mean stay in level one? No, level one would be 8 weeks. So here's the thing. If you get signed up for accelerated OYAP, we'll see each other in either February or April. If you're doing your normal level one without the schools getting involved, you would find an employer, you would get signed up and registered as apprentice, and the ministry would wait 12 to 18 months before sending you an offer to come to level one. So that's how it works. Will a cover letter and resume? Yes, bring a resume and cover letter so we can see who you are. How long is the interview? 15 minutes. Do we need medical lessons? No, you don't. Uh, how many levels? There are 3 levels for automotive. For other questions, complete the work. Can you complete the work hours that count, but just not do level one training? Yes, correct. It's 15 minutes. Uh, the other question, complete the work hours that count. If you're on the waiting period, if you're on the waiting period, you haven't started anything. They don't even look, you're waiting for an offer. So that's not a count of hours. They're just seeing if you stay employed. Um, you apply. If they accept you, then basically you're just waiting to actually get that offer. There's no hours that are counting. It's just waiting for that offer. But again, that's with the Ministry of Labor. It's not with the colleges. Yeah. So when you're waiting, yeah, it's one of these things. It used to be 6 to 12 months. They would give you an offer. Now it seems like you're going a long time. Yes, you work while you wait for an offer for the normal program. Yes, that's correct. Can I access the recording tomorrow? Just ask the boards. They're pretty quick with sending it out. I'll send it out tonight. Um, they generally will post it on a main website, and all the school boards will you generally give it out. Is the exam hands-on? So I don't know what exam you're talking about. If you're talking about the 310S exam, no, it's multiple choice. Like the final exit test, it's multiple choice. All right, I'd like to thank everybody for the time. And we've got it down to 15 people. Thank you for your time. And if you want, come to our open house on November 28th. It's going to be a Saturday, and feel free to stop and you can look at our labs. Are being trained for working on electric vehicles. There's some electric vehicle content. Um, the program, the apprenticeship program, they're looking at revising the curriculum, so it's a few years behind. So for electric vehicles, there's safety, but there's not a real focus on electric cars. The one thing I will say is electric car technology is based off existing electrical technology. So it's one of these things that if you understand some of the things like alternators and things like that, you'll be able to do electric cars as well. So let me take a look at this November. Let me look at the date. Sorry, it is the 29th. So not the 28th, 29th. You're correct. All right. I'm going to let everybody go. Thank you for your time.